The Locked On Podcast Network presents the College Sports Big 3 in 30. The three biggest stories in college sports. From our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story. Why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The College Sports Big 3 in 30 starts now with the biggest story in college sports. You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
LSU beats UCLA 9-5. The Tigers now start 2-0 at the College World Series, and this one was unconventional at best with the way that it all went down. The game started on Monday, as we know. The teams played 3 innings. At the end of the third, LSU had a 5-3 lead. The rains came, or the storm was coming, so the teams cleared the field. They waited out a long delay. Ultimately, after about 2.5 hours, made the decision to call it, postpone the game until Tuesday morning, a 10 a.m. Central Time resumption, and it was Case and Evans. If you were with us when the game got delayed, my feeling that I shared as we went through all the possible scenarios was Evans was 100% the right call. There might be some concern or some question about why you would go to Evans in that situation, why you wouldn't try to make it through with whoever else you might have available. And at its most basic level, it's understanding you were in the situation on Tuesday morning the same as you were on Monday night. It's still the opportunity to start 2-0. To stay in the winner's bracket. And you were in a 5-3 ball game. It was a 2-run game with 6 innings to go. And the same reason you threw Anthony Ianson because he was your best guy available, you threw Casey Evans because he was your best guy available to get you to 2-0, which is just imperative in this tournament. I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's only 4 teams that have lost their first game of the College World Series to go on to win it. It is just imperative that you get into the winner's bracket. Can it be done? Yes. Like we saw LSU in 2023 lose that second game and come out of the loser's bracket to advance and win a national championship. It's possible, but this path is so much more manageable for college rosters. I don't need to spell that out, but it's why you go to Case and Evans. He was your best arm available, just like Ianson on Monday was your best arm available. So you went to Evans, said we need 18 outs, go find me 18 outs, and Evans almost got you home. He gives way after going 4 1/3 there in the 8th. He got a very casual foul out to start the 8th, and then single, wild pitch, hit by pitch. They go to Cooper Williams, who goes walk, RBI fielder's choice. It's 8-4, infield single. It's 8-5, walk, and now the bases are loaded in an 8-5 ball game. You're one swing away from being tied. Now it was the 9-hole. But you went to get Chase Shores, 1 pitch, ground out, and it was all over but the shouting. LSU would add the insurance run in the bottom of the 8th on the RBI single by Jared Jones. And Chase Shores would have a clean 9th, 3 ground balls to the second baseman, up and down in order, and the Tigers advance. They'll have the rest of the day off today. They'll play on Wednesday night against the winner of Arkansas UCLA, which has to play tonight. I'll go through the rest of the game here in a second. We'll get to your questions, comments. So as always, fire away. We appreciate you for being there with us. And if you're with us here live on YouTube, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. But I do feel strongly that Arkansas will advance tonight. I don't think that that's any breaking news. We'll see what the odds makers say. I'll pull up FanDuel here and see if they have a line yet, if they posted a line yet on Arkansas and UCLA. They may wait to see what information they get on starting pitching for this ball game. Yet no line posted just yet. If one is posted before we're finished here, we'll discuss it. But it's one of those things where Arkansas, sky high, they were able to rest their bullpen with Gage Wood throwing the no-hitter on Monday. And UCLA just used 8 pitchers. I mean, let me run through this box score just to make sure I have that correctly, but I'm almost positive it's 8 pitchers in this game that UCLA used. So they went Stump, Grothis, those were both yesterday. They started today with Wyland Moss, Cal Randall, Ian May, Jack O'Connor, August Souza, and Easton Hawk 6, and then the 2 yesterday, so that's 8. So 6 pitchers today through. And the two that pitched on Monday makes it 8. Now, UCLA will go into this game tonight just at a severe disadvantage in every possible way. Their only path is if Arkansas decides that they don't want to hit the baseball, like in the first 2 games where they've gotten 4 runs total in 2 games. Maybe UCLA can win a game like that. But my assumption going into this was whoever lost this game with LSU and UCLA, their season ends tonight. Because to turn around quickly and have to face Arkansas tonight, Arkansas having had 24 hours, you started last night, stopped, had to restart. Now you're going to have to go home and then go back to the hotel, come back and play again tonight against Arkansas. It's a really tough ask. So I do expect Arkansas to beat UCLA tonight and LSU and Arkansas to meet on Wednesday. So I will talk about what I think we'll see from LSU on Wednesday night, whenever they play in the what would be at the semifinal, the first of the semifinals. A few things here as we go through this game. If we go back and we kind of combine both Monday night and tonight, it was interesting how this game started where Ianson, it feels like forever ago, but Ianson allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. It was just a bunch of ground balls on the infield. There was 1 ball that was hitting the air to the outfield. Needed 23 pitches to get through it. You're down 3-0. You're feeling like mud. But my goodness, what a response from the offense to come back, put up a 4 spot. Jake Brown, the RBI single on an 0-2 pitch. Jared Jones with the 3-run homer. And just like that, you're up 4-3, feeling great. Ianson, after 23 pitches in the first inning, an 11-pitch second inning, a 10-pitch third inning, he was efficient. It allowed you to get 3 innings in before the rains came. And then you had a big bottom of the third as well, where you worked a 9-pitch at bat to start the bottom of the third. That was Fry. Milam walked, so you went walk. Jake Brown comes in. That's where they tried to bunt, and with 2 on and nobody out. Brown strikes out trying to bunt. Jones would strike out as well, and then Luis Hernandez. I don't think you can undersell this because as the game got tight and it finished, I know it finished 9-5, but you were in an 8-5 situation in the 9th inning. They had the bases loaded. Luis Hernandez, a 2-out RBI single that made it 5-3. That's when John Pearson came in to pitch hit. He struck out, and then we went into the delay. But then, that 2-out single by Luis Hernandez, the 2-out rally in the 4th inning after the restart for LSU was just massive as well.
Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We didn't have an inkling that Jet Tamala was going to commit today. We did think, okay, he could be our guy. It felt more and more like Jet Tamala was Alabama's number 1 choice. But it was also, hey, you're our number 1 guy, but we need to make moves. And you need to, blank or get off the pot, one of the two. Now, I'm not saying that he was given an ultimatum. I'm just saying recruiting moves fast these days, and you need to go ahead and get your quarterback in the boat because those are usually the Pied Pipers. And for those who don't know, Jet Tamala is the number 1 prospect in the state of Nebraska. He was committed to Iowa State. He's a 4-star on all services except ESPN. We also believe ESPN and Rivals to be the well, I don't even know if Rivals is a thing anymore. We usually associate them with having the least accurate of the rankings. But I love this guy. look, if you want to be impressed with him, go check out some of his YouTube tape on football and on basketball. This kid's a real athlete. I want to really quickly tell you what Andrew Evans of 24/7 says about him. He said he's a decorated prep signal caller with some peaks and valleys on the game tape, but one that has a chance to emerge as a winner on Saturdays. Looks the part with a budding frame that's pushing 6'4". He set multiple records as a junior while leading his team to its first state title in 15 years. Let's also go ahead and preface all that by saying Nebraska high school football ain't Alabama high school football.
Yeah, I got a lot to say here, a lot to unpack, as the kids say. First of all, in terms of how great a prospect he is, On3 ranks him number 10. So as far as I'm concerned, that's On3's ranking. They're the best in the business. I'm going to call him a top 10 quarterback because On3 ranks him number 10 prior to Elite 11. I'm going to be watching Elite 11 like a hawk. I do every summer, nothing new there. But really watching this year to see how Jet Tamala does because like Luke just said, this is why that Elite 11 stuff is so important in this case to know exactly how good he is. Jet Tamala's numbers and what he looks like on tape is fantastic, but he's playing against not great competition. I mean, it's not the competition that you see at Thompson and Spain Park and Hoover and big schools in Louisiana like West Monroe. It's nothing like that. But at Elite 11, a lot of those variables are removed, and you get to see a kid's actual, real, raw talent. They don't play real games there, but you get a great look at what we call the clay. The clay will be on display at Elite 11 side by side with all the other kids vying for, number one quarterback in the U.S. So he's a top 10 quarterback. Regardless of the competition, though, Luke, these numbers stand out. I don't care if you're playing against air. Well, and I guess you wouldn't be if this was the case. But 47-3. That's the touchdown interception ratio, 47-3 in his junior year. Those are phenomenal numbers. I don't care at all who you're playing against. 47-3, that shows the production. The size speaks for itself. He's basically 6'5". The basketball tape that shows him dunking around like he's some sort of modern day Vince Carter, that shows the athleticism. You watch the football tape. I did. I admit, first time I watched the football tape, I'm like, I like this guy. Not sure what kind of athlete he is. Because basically everything is from the pocket. He looks a little gangly almost in terms of the way he's built, and everything's kind of from the pocket. And I question his athleticism. I'm like, I'm not so sure this guy's an SEC athlete for the position. And then I watch the basketball tape, and I'm like, well, he absolutely is an SEC athlete at this position. The basketball tape, once again, showing that off why so many football coaches want to watch these kids play basketball. They do to get a look at that. Bama comp, still working on that in my head because this is tough. The closest one I can come up with in terms of who he reminds me of as a Bama quarterback is A.J. McCarron. I think there's a lot of A.J. here, but he's a better pure athlete than A.J. And A.J., keep in mind, was a long-time NFL backup quarterback and a fifth-round draft pick and probably is going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I think Jet Tamala is a better pure athlete than A.J. was at the same stage. But I do see some similarities in their game. And quite frankly, they're ranked similarly, or I think they will be by the end of this process.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm really excited about this. I'm most excited because I think this is the guy that they really wanted. Now, yeah, of course they pursued Derek Zammit. And you and I love Derek Zammit, but let's be honest, we loved him for his name more than anything.
I think they're an hey, we'll get to see in Elite 11. Let's stack them up. Yeah. Derek Zammit and Jet Tamala, head-to-head Elite 11. I like them both. I think Tamala has more upside. I know that sounds like, well, of course you do, you Alabama homer. No, I'm saying Tamala has more upside just because I like the basketball. The basketball highlight dunk and the 6'5" stuff. He's got more upside. Zammit may have a better feel for the position. Zammit looks more polished to me, but Tamala looks like more upside. And isn't that what you're recruiting? Upside? You're recruiting guys that project to potentially be great. I think Tamala might be more like that guy.
Yeah, I wanted to talk some more about some of his accolades. In 2024, he was the Nebraska Player of the Year, so as a junior, and so you would think he's the odds-on favorite to be the Nebraska Player of the Year again in 2025 because, again, I'm going to look it up next time you start talking. I can't imagine Nebraska has a ton of big-time prospects. That is not a shot at the people who are. I'm just saying.
There's not many people that live there.
It ain't Alabama, Georgia, Texas, California, Florida.
Just not many people that live there.
And call me crazy, I put Alabama high school football in there with those other states. I know California and Texas and Georgia have more quality-wise. You ain't going to find a lot of dudes as good as Sedarian Morgan, Andre Smith, Julio Jones, just go down the list. Now, so he was a player of the year. He led the team to a state championship. He set state classification record in passing yards, touchdown passes, and completions. He was 250 of 359, so that's about 70% completion.
That's
not bad.
That's incredible for that many attempts.
Free throws.
For that many attempts, when you're talking about 30 attempts a game, 70% is a lot. It's not a lot if you're barely throwing it. He's throwing it a ton.
Yeah,
I looked at this too. I had this question. I'm surprised we don't get this more like, whoa, why isn't the number one player in Nebraska going to Nebraska? Good question. So I looked into it myself. Nebraska already has a quarterback commitment, and it's from somebody they sort of had to take. A lesser ranked kid, but somebody they sort of had to take. Dylan Raiola's younger brother is the commitment to Nebraska. They took Dayton Raiola, son of a Nebraska legend, younger brother of current quarterback that's leading Nebraska out of the wilderness, sort of a must take for them. So don't think that Nebraska's like, well, we looked at this kid and don't care much for him. They were just sort of locked into taking Dayton Raiola.
Okay, so first of all, Blaine Elliott has a good comment. He said, "Look, if we get Jet Tamala and Jet Washington, Bama will have the airspace over T-Town covered." I would also say we'd have to start practicing in Coleman Coliseum because that is the hangar. But we're not getting Jet Washington. Jet Washington will ironically probably commit to Oregon. He's already been Fong bombed out there, I think. So you can sort of write that down.
He's a duck, but don't fret. I think J-Raw Edwards, J-Raw Edwards. I think we've said, mimicking what they're saying at BOL, and we'll be a little more detailed because we can. Or I think it's more rev share NIL type thing. You were never getting both Edwards and Jet Washington. You weren't going to blow that much of what you have to spend at the store. When you go to Walmart and you got a certain amount of money, you don't want to spend it all in the safety aisle. I think that's basically how that works. But so no Jet Washington, but I love the Jet thing is cool. What a cool name for a quarterback, Jet.
It is pretty awesome. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And the only thing is, he better be good, or people are going to start saying he's more like a Wright brothers plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this jet could crash.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to be pretty good. Now, I looked up Nebraska recruiting, and like I feared, it's not loaded with a ton of high school talent. And again, I'm not taking shots at the kids. I'm just saying overall, I think you people know what I'm saying.
Well, he is number one.
Well,
it'd be worse if we're saying Nebraska never has any good players and this kid's number 23.
And he is. Here's the other thing. I'm going to tell you something very interesting. I just noticed this. So Jet Tamala is number one player in Nebraska. On the composite with on three, he's number 205, and he's the 13th best quarterback. Again, he's at the Elite 11. That may change it. He may go up. I think there is a possibility for that. I'm being optimistic. Now, the second-rated guy is a three-star. He's number 561 in the country. After that, the next three guys are all on Jet Tamala's team. Amarian Jackson, who's an athlete, Landon Van Sergen, who is an interior lineman, and Isaac Jensen, who's a tight end. Now, those guys, so think about this. No wonder they're winning state championships. Jet Tamala is now headed to Bama, that quarterback. Amarian Jackson is an athlete committed to Iowa State. Landon Van Sergen is an Illinois commit, and Isaac Jensen is a tight end committed to Missouri. That is, and then they have the number 12 guy in Nebraska, who's number 1,246 in the country, but he's a running back. He's committed to Illinois as well. That is some crazy talent in Nebraska on one team.
On one team, that reminds me of Bishop Gorman in Nevada. There's very few big time schools in Nevada, and like half of the best prospects in Nevada are always at that one once. Well,
the NBA playoffs are winding down, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action, so don't miss out. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. FanDuel makes betting easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or diving into player props. Maybe you'd like to do that. From three-pointers to steals to assists, there are so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Place that first $5 bet on the Thunder, 6.5-point favorites over the Pacers in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. The potential clincher, odds on the over, plus 110, and the under, minus 152. Defense has been a theme for the Thunder all postseason and all regular season. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
A very special guest joins me today on the show. Another class of 2026 Duke football commit, Chadwicke Cannon Jr., kind enough to spend some time with me here. Really great to see you, Chadwicke. Excited to hear about your journey so far in football and the decision ultimately to play for Duke. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Very well. Thank you for asking. And again, thank you for taking some time to be here with me today. Simply put, easy first question that I ask all the commits. Why Duke? Why did you make this decision to commit?
You know, I feel like they were kind of like the first ones like to show me like real love, you know what I'm saying? I felt like their scheme like really fit me when I went down the first time. They explained like how I fit in their scheme. And, you know, I really like the coaches. I like how they, you know, act towards their players. And, you know, I feel like I'd be a good fit there. So that's why I chose Duke.
What's that process? What's the timeline like? This is one of the first schools you say that reaches out to you. How do you first hear from Duke? How do the Blue Devils get on your radar?
Well, I mean, I don't think they were the first school, but they were definitely like something I was definitely interested in, you know, going to. So for me, they said that they kind of seen me like a little later, like during mid-season. So like I was talking with Coach Devon, Coach Infante. They told me they really like my film. They want me to come down there. So we were chatting for a while. I was supposed to come down to a game, like a regular season game, but I ended up not being able to make it. So I actually officially went down there in spring, and you know, they offered me in spring, and I was like really excited. I was really happy. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of emotions. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be it. So.
Yeah, tell me about that. The first time you get to Durham, the first time you get there to campus at Duke, like what are you taking in? What are you noticing? What stands out to you?
Well, I like the area. Like when I went, the trees were blossoming. There was a lot of tree blossoms.
Springtime, absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. It was beautiful up there. So yeah.
And that and then the campus has a really nice feel to it. What did you notice?
Like a lot of the architecture is like Gothic kind of, and it's like a little bit, yeah, it's like really cool. So like it was cool to see that, not just like modern, you know, like everybody else has. So yeah, it's definitely different.
A lot of people feel like they're walking on the set of Harry Potter or at Hogwarts when they're there on campus, man. Yeah. So when we get to the football side of things on your visit, what does that look like? Were you able to instantly meet with the coaches? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah. So when I got there, they drove me up on a golf cart to like the D-line room. And I met Coach Infante. He had a big smile on his face, gave me a big hug, big bear hug. And, you know, I met Coach Devon and all that.
And for clarification, was this on your unofficial visit?
Yeah, unofficial.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. And so during that timeline, I mean, what are you hoping to hear for folks and for future recruits, even when you're on an unofficial visit? What is it that you were wanting to hear from Duke?
Just to see how I fit in their scheme and see if I'm really like the person for them, or if I'm the guy for them, or are they the fit for me? That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously that went well. You enjoyed what you heard there, and you get the opportunity to go back for the official visit. You commit and want to play football at Duke in the future. Let's talk about the player that you are, Chadwicke. How would you describe your game? If no one's ever seen Chadwicke Cannon Jr. play football before, how would you describe your game?
I feel like I'm very physical. I use my hands a lot, and I feel like you could see me on the field. Like I feel like I'm very, very, you know, bully ball. That's how I would describe it. 2 words, bully ball. That's it. You know,
use your strength to your advantage, right?
Yes, sir. And I have good hands as well.
I notice in your background as well that weightlifting has been something that you've been a big standout in. And Chadwicke, truthfully, not all the states in our country support, like it's not sanctioned everywhere that you get to participate in weightlifting. What is that like, and how big of an impact has that been on your football career?
Well, I came in my freshman year. not knowing much about the weightlifting team and whatnot. But I got to give a lot of shout out to my coaches, Coach Nelson, Coach Bonello, and Coach Sylvie, my weightlifting coaches. I feel like they were like a really big step for me to get from where I am to like where I'm at now. So I feel like they did really help. In our school, we're on one of the top weightlifting schools in Florida. So we have like, I think the most weightlifting champion titles from like, since we started the school. It's like really, our school's like really good at weightlifting. So yeah.
What is this like? I mean, is it, are we counting the weight here? Is it a time aspect? I mean, seriously, there's so many people who are unfamiliar with the weightlifting sport. What does that look like?
So there's 3 events, but they split it up into 2 categories, Olympic and traditional. Traditional is benching and clean and jerk, and Olympic is snatch and clean and jerk. So you would add your 2 lifts together to get your total, and that tells you like how far you are, your place, basically. Yeah.
What did you notice from weightlifting that helped translate to the football field?
I feel like that's probably where I got all my strength from, my power. I think football strength and like regular strength are 2 different things, but it definitely translated for me. So yeah.
How long have you been playing football?
Since I was 8.
Okay. And what was it about the game that you loved?
Well, first, I'm not even gonna lie. First, I was like a little lazy kid. Didn't really like to get outside. My dad, I love my dad, senior, Chadwicke Cannon senior. He put me on football, told me I got to stick with it, and I ended up liking it when I was like 9. I was like, yeah, this is going to be what I'm, what I'm saying? Yeah.
Were you like trying out multiple different sports and then figured out football was what you liked the most, or tell me about that in your childhood?
Yeah. My dad kind of like put me into sports. First, we started playing YMCA soccer and basketball.
There you go.
Yeah. And then, I was like, I don't really like this that much. And then football came along. I was like, yeah, because I like to be aggressive and physical. So, I like football. That's what I stuck with. So,
but I mean, so many coaches and so many great athletes talk about the importance of being a versatile athlete when they're, not to be so focused on one. It's so easy to get burnt out if that's all you do at a young age. And so for you to have a little bit of a background doing various things, that's super impressive. So talking about your style of play, once again, you mentioned bully ball is kind of what you like to say if people have never seen you play before. How can you make that translate to the college game? Like, what are you hoping to bring to a Duke football defense?
Well, right now, I feel like that's what makes me stand out in high school. But when I get to college, all of the skill level is going to get shorter. Like, everybody's going to be neck and neck. So I feel like when I get to college, my strength is going to be a big thing for me to, improve on. So I could probably get some early reps as a freshman. But I feel like I need to work on my technique as well. So, like, quickness, ball get off hands, more finesse, all that. I need to, get that up. So when I get to college, I can definitely get some reps.
And obviously that's going to be back in the weight room, right? Strength and conditioning, a little bit of your background there is going to help you make those improvements once it's time to get on the field. I want to hear a little bit more about this timeline. Let's jump back. The unofficial visit concludes. You head back down home. What are you thinking at that time?
Well, honestly, I don't even think I went home to think I was going to commit. Like, we went back to the hotel. I was like very emotional. My mom, we were talking about with my parents. I was like, I just need some time to think, like process these emotions. And, a couple of days later, I was like, I called them like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to, be a Duke football player. So, yeah.
How excited was the coaching staff when they heard that from you?
Coach Infante, he was ecstatic. Coach Devon, we're all on FaceTime together. They're all excited. So, and he told me to call Coach Diaz. He was like, yes, sir, let's go. So, that's what made it official.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've mentioned your position coaches there a couple of times here, but when you're going through the recruiting process, Chadwicke, it's really important to win over the head coach, right? And to be on good terms with him, and also just to realize this is a regular guy, and Manny Diaz, so many Duke fans are excited about him leading the program. What was that like for you? Tell me about getting to know Coach Diaz.
Well, actually, when I went on my unofficial, he's the one that actually offered me. So I went to his office. I met with him. We talked for a little minute. He's like, yeah, we want to offer you a scholarship. So like that was like really big for me. So yeah. And he's really, really cool guy. So yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Tell me about Coach Diaz that you got to know.
Okay. So when we went in the office, we kind of just like talked for a little minute. And then like he relates to my mom. My mom's from she's from Polk County. It's like little like tiny town, like middle of nowhere. And that's like because he was in Miami.
He's got Florida roots. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we kind of like, yeah.
And so a lot of people talk about the importance of their parents being on this journey for them. And obviously the coaches are aware of that. They want to recruit the parents as well. What was that dynamic like for you throughout your recruiting journey?
Well, in my journey, I feel like they were definitely my mom and my dad were definitely a big part of it. So like, they felt like the same connection, same family that I felt when I went down to Duke. So they were talking about committing before I even said anything out of my mouth. Like they were saying, "Oh yeah, this has to be the one," because other schools aren't like as friendly as they were. So that's yeah.
How big of it? Talk about that relationship with your parents. Then, were you bouncing ideas off with them? How important was it for you to have them included in your decision?
Yeah, it's very important, honestly, because like if my parents are happy at the end of the day, like I can't be, I can't. Since my
Family's
parents,
important to you, sure.
Of course, yes, of course. So that was just like a big decision. Like I feel like this was like the best thing I could have done, the best school. There was obviously other schools like that I probably could have went to and probably enjoyed it, but it's definitely not as big of a family thing that we had at Duke.
So you're going to play for Duke in the future, a class of 2026 commit. Excited to see you come and play for the Blue Devils. We'll get back to that in a moment, but I don't want to, rush time away here, Chadwicke. We still have a senior football season for you to get to compete in. How excited are you to put on your high school uniform for one more year?
I'm very excited. It's my last year. I got to show up for my boys. I'm definitely good. Well, I'm going to be a captain this year. I'm calling it right now. So I gotta be a leader in the weight room, leader on the field. That's definitely something like I really want to enjoy my last season. So, yeah.
Yeah, tell me about that. Beyond being the captain, what are some of the other goals that you've got for your senior year?
Actually, me and Aiden, I'm going to show you on my phone. Me and Aiden have something. We have a little competition because we're planning to be roommates in the future. So
that's awesome.
So it's a long story. But anyways, we got some goals on my for the 26 season. 100 total tackles, 20 TFLs, 10 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. I have a personal goal, 4.840, first team all area, make 3 third round playoffs. I want to be a 4-star by the end of this. And that's how I want to end my high school career. But me and Aiden trying to see if we can get the best stats by the end of the year. So
that's a competitive competition, a competitive rivalry between future teammates. That's awesome. Tell me about, Aiden Kane, somebody that is obviously going to be a part of this class as well, has committed to the program. What's that been like getting to know him, who's in that same position room with you? And then even beyond him, Chadwicke, I want you to talk about everybody in this recruiting class, getting to know your future teammates.
So Aiden, that's my twin. I'll be real. That's my twin, man. So when we got on the OV, we got there late. I met him in the lobby. That's like we actually like we are the same, like kind of like the same person, honestly. Like we act the same, we like the same stuff. But like, yeah, I feel like him, that's like gonna be my guy for the next couple of years, next 4 years. So, and then we got Tyler, Sean, Dane. There's some new kids that recruited, but those are the people I met on my OV that are already committed.
Right.
There's some other recruits that committed, but we can't say who those are yet. But CJ just committed today on running back, really cool dude. But there's a lot of people that I feel like we're gonna be close when we get to Duke. So yeah.
Is the coaching staff big on you guys kind of creating a culture amongst yourself? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I feel like they are like kind of the ones that God brought us together to get to know each other or whatnot, and then we made a group chat. So like we text on the regular, try and get to know each other even more. And we're trying to plan a game to get down to like all of us to go to Duke and just hang out, have fun with each other on that game day. So yeah.
Without a doubt, people are excited about the future of Duke football. What is that kind of message that you would give Duke football fans about what's to come?
I feel like we're gonna have a great future, great outcome. We went 9-4. Coach Diaz's first year there, and we're having a bigger recruiting class this year. So I feel like they should stay tuned to see what's for Duke's future.